Howdy folks, and welcome to a brand new reaction series. Today we're finally going to be starting up Frieren Beyond Journey's End with Season 1 Episode 1, which is just titled The Journey's End. Interesting to have a first episode of a show be called The Journey's End, but I have been wanting to watch this show for a little over a year now. I feel like it was about a year ago I put up a poll. I wanted to do an anime series, and my top two choices were Frieren and Dungeon Meshi. Dungeon Meshi won that poll, so I ran through that last year, and I absolutely loved it. But ever since then, I've been really hoping to find an excuse to get to Frieren, put it on another show poll, and lo and behold, it won this time. So, hey, we're finally getting to it. This is another victim of Netflix won't give us more JoJo's. I watched and loved the first episode of Steel Ball Run, but unfortunately, Netflix has other plans for us for that series. So as I'm looking for more stuff to watch, sure, let's watch Frieren. And great segue. Apparently, this is the #1 ranked anime on my anime list. So I don't know how much weight that holds. I'm assuming that's a fairly popular site, something like a Letterboxd or IMDb or something, but just for anime. And speaking of Steel Ball Run, I know when that first episode came out, there were a lot of people that were rating it 10 out of 10. And I think I saw a thing that Frieren diehard fans were review bombing JoJo's Steel Ball Run to knock it down a little bit. So, not gonna lie, I haven't seen any of Frieren yet, but that first episode of Steel Ball Run was really good, despite the fact how Netflix is treating the show. I think that alone lets it not be in the #1 spot, because hey, you've only had one episode of that show. This has had a little bit more than a season, from what I think I understand. And sorry for this long rambly intro, but I want to get everything I know about the series out of the way before I click play here. As far as I know, this series, I think the manga is on hold due to the health of one of the mangaka, which I did look up. I want to make sure I get this right, because this is one of the first times I've seen a show that has a different writer and artist. So I want to talk about them real quick. According to Wikipedia, written by Kanehito Yamada and illustrated by Tsukasa Abe. So one of the few times I know that I've followed anything. I'm not a huge anime guy, so this could be common practice, but everything else I think I've read has just been one person. Like, I mentioned JoJo's before, Hirohiko Araki. I'm a big fan of Junji Ito, who writes and illustrates all of his stuff. So yeah, even, the little bit I've looked into Dungeon Meshi after watching that, Ryoko Kui. Single person. So interesting, but hey, from what I've heard about the show, it's worth it. I have heard that here's everything I know. I don't know much. There's an elf who was a part of a party, and I think she's, it's many years past now, and all of her crewmates in her old party are getting old and dying. That's all I know about the show. I know there's an angle, apparently. It's something like this or something that apparently they do a lot, and I've heard this show is gonna probably make me cry at some point, so I'm looking forward to that. Hey, we got, I think, 38 episodes, Wikipedia said. I think the second season was a bit shorter than the first because of the issues with the mangaka. And once again, if it is due to a health issue, I hope that things get better soon. Let me know in the comments exactly what's going on there, because like I said, I'm very uneducated on this, and I didn't want to look up too much before I start watching the show. I believe that this anime is animated by Studio Madhouse, which I think did Death Parade, which I did a couple years ago. Maybe my least watched reaction series I've ever done, but I had a good enough time watching Death Parade. That was a fun show. So hey, I know this is one of the biggest animation studios, I think, in Japan. So I'm definitely excited to see that, getting some Studio Trigger stuff with Dungeon Meshi. So, kind of getting two of the biggest ones that I'm most familiar with, or at least some of the history that has the most stuff that I'm familiar with. But yeah, I'm really excited to dive into this. This is published in a shonen manga, or a shonen magazine, which I was really confused by, because from everything I understand about the show, it's like a much more mature story with feelings in the onset, not just like a big power fantasy kind of stuff that I usually feel like I associate with shonen stuff. But I kind of assumed this was kind of like Dungeon Meshi being a seinen manga. Excuse me, sorry. I kind of figured that would be the same, but the fact that it's published in a shonen magazine, interesting. We'll see. Obviously, like I said, I don't know anything, and I'm looking forward to getting kind of the tone feeling. Like, if it's going to be all emotions, I hear this is a very vibes-based show. So, hey, all we got to do is go on and watch. So let's scooch over here and get ready to do just that. As I take this opportunity to, thank you for watching me watch this thing. Being a new show, there's going to be new eyeballs on the channel. So hi, I'm Tallman. I watch things, mostly Western animation, but a couple anime here and there. Like I said, JoJo's Part 7, Dungeon Meshi, Death Parade, a couple things. I want to do a couple movies. Like I want to do Your Name. And I think there was one other one, A Silent Voice. I want to do those two at some point, but it's, I mostly do series. But hey, I said all that to say, if you're new here, go subscribe to the channel. Go check my channel playlist to see if there's anything else I've done that interests you. And for sure, leave a like on this video. I know being a first episode, it can be hit or miss. Sometimes they pop off really, really good with episode 1, or sometimes they take a while to get going. But certainly liking the video, leaving a comment helps get this in front of more eyeballs who might be interested in seeing this. But if you want to see this or any other Frieren video uncut, unedited, a little bit early, hopefully, on episode 2, I still have a lot of editing backlog I need to catch up on. But hey, if you want to be ahead of the YouTube feed at the very least, there's a link to join the Patreon down in the description below. But as always, I'm glad that you're just here watching on YouTube. Not necessary at all. And because I don't know what the OP situation of this episode is going to be, I drink tea for these reactions. So what are you drinking as you're watching this? Tonight we have peppermint tea out of the Wally and Eve mug. One of my favorites. Yeah, that was a long intro. We're almost at 7 minutes here. So let's get started with Frieren. I'll probably put a timestamp for when the actual reaction starts. But let's get started with Frieren Beyond Journey's End, Season 1, Episode 1, The Journey's End. Starting up in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, just getting right into it. Well, I said I didn't know what the OP situation was going to be like, and here we are. I feel like it's kind of rare, usually, that we get an OP in the very first episode of something. I should probably be reading these lyrics, huh? Story ends and the hero goes to sleep. Yeah. Lots of calls back to the past. Things begin to rust. I'm sure all will make sense as I go, but ooh. Love looking at a mischievous looking person sitting on a throne just waiting for someone to come. Kind of reminds me of the Mad Mage a little bit from Dungeon Meshi. Except that character is very not playful. Okay, here we go. Show proper. Ariel? I mean, we'll get pronunciations as we go. I am watching this in Japanese. I did a poll. A lot of people seemed, kind of mixed, but I definitely saw a lot of people that were disparaging of the English dub, so I decided to go with Japanese original for this. I do like that we have like a foursome already. I swear, I'm not trying to compare this to Dungeon Meshi every chance I get, but it is probably the most recent anime I've watched, so. Yeah. That's kind of what I was hinting at, right? Oh, we're about to have a massive time jump, right? Or just Frieren. I guess Beyond Journey's End being an English subtitle there. I do like the way the animation looks. Like, it looks a little bit more storybook than I expected it to look. And I really like that look and feel of it. Yeah, it looks like an illustration from a book that Castle did. And also, I am terrible with names, so it's going to take me a while to get anyone who's not Frieren. I'm at least trying to get their classes and jobs figured out. I saw there's a fighter, a mage, a priest. I think I missed the first one. I'll definitely go back and check in editing. You know what? I'm just going to go back now. It's important to know exactly what we're dealing with here. Okay. Himmel the hero, Eisen the warrior, Heiter the priest, and Frieren the mage. Okay. So what does a hero do that a fighter wouldn't? And now I'm thinking to Fire Emblem, which heroes are very fighter-like. So I guess we'll find out. And once again, I've already forgot most of the names.
王様が広場に
Except
僕
Ison.
たちの彫像を作ってくれるそうだ。
現金なもんだ。旅立ちの時はどうか10枚しかくれなかったくせに。
終わってしまったな。
そうだね。僕たちの冒険はこれで終わりだ。
Yeah, and once
10
again,
年ですか。
10
いろいろなこ
years.
とがありましたね。
Wow.
旅立ちの日にヒンメルとアイゼンが王様にタメ口聞いて処刑されかけたり。
下手したらあそこで冒険終わってたよ。
かけた時
Oh no.
置いてこうかと思ったぞ。
散々罠だって言った。
Once again, trying not to compare to Dungeon Meshi, but Mimic was a pretty hype episode of that show.
まったくクソみたいな思い出しかないな。
Yeah, but they were memories you made together.
楽しかったよ。
Yeah,
僕は君たちと
It's all part of
冒
it.
険ができてよかった。
that's just life, the good times and the bad, huh?
短い間だったけどね。
短
A
い。
mere 10.
何を言
God,
ってるんだ ?10 年だぞ。
that's crazy.
ハイ
To...
ターを見ろ。
I mean, I know
すっ
she's
か
an
りおっ
elf,
さんになっ
right?
てしまったぞ。
I'm in my late 30s now. Technically, I just turned 36, so I guess that counts as late 30s. It's just still mid 30s, I would say, but each passing year, I feel a little bit older than the last. And the longer I keep doing video stuff, like I
ヘ
can
ーラ
just
流星
feel like I can see
でしたっけ
myself aging as I go.
50年に一度の流星群。平和な時代の幕開けにはちょうどいいな。
And are they gonna say like, I wonder if I'll get to see the next one too?
街中だと見えにくいね。
人が感動しているんだ。空気を読みたまえ。
じゃあ次。50年後、も
Yeah.
っと綺麗に見える場所知ってるから案内
Oh,
す
is
る。
that where we're gonna pick up after this?
何？
いや、なんでもない。
So they say that guy's an old man, but this is also a shonen manga, so he's probably like 25 or something. Yeah, I love these backgrounds. They look so good. I'm a sucker for like pastel watercolor storybook looking stuff.
これからどうするつもりだ？
魔法の収集を続けるよ。100年くらいは中央諸国を巡る予定だから、まあ、たまには顔を見せるよ。
Yeah, but don't take too long to come back though.
感覚は分かりませんね。50年も100年も彼女にとっては些細なものなのかもしれませんね。
Okay, so See, the problem is when they introduce the priest and the fighter together, I don't know which was which. I mean, I'm assuming, like I said, we're going to be picking up significantly later anyway. So maybe it doesn't matter as much. But I still do want to get things right. Like I said, it sucks picking up new shows, especially shows in languages you don't speak. Oh no, more mimics. You know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Still getting eaten by mimics.
暗黒竜の角、うちでは取り扱ってないよ。暗黒竜自体、2、30年は見てないね。
She's like, that was yesterday.
そういえば魔王城で拾ったやつ。ヒ
Oh,
ンメルに預けたままだっけ？
oh, time to go
なん
back.
か邪悪なオーラみたいなの出てるけど、人体2回はないよね。
わかんない。
わかんないか。
もうすぐエーラ流星の時期だし。
Okay, so it has been about 50 years. Interesting. I mean, I say that, but that's pretty much exactly what I said.
確かここらへん。
Yeah, how do you even like track people down like that?
ヒンメル。老いぼれてる。
言い方ひどくない？
I mean, we had this conversation last time we talked.
僕もなかなかイケメンだろ。
Yeah, bald looks good on you.
もう一生会えないのかと思っていた。
Oh man.
エーラ流星か。
And she's still adventuring, and he's just like an old retiree,
魔王
right?
城で拾ったやつなんだけど。
暗黒竜の角だね。片時も忘れたことはないよ。
It gives me bad dreams. I've had 50 years of shit sleep because of it.
だからね。
なんかごめん。
Yeah, and I love that she's like,
何でも
I
放り
think
込
I'm
んでおいてくれ
sorry.
てよかったのに。
そうはいかないよ。
Because even though it had a bad aura, it reminded me of you and the times we had.
君にとっては軽い気持ちで預けたものかもしれないけど、僕にとっては大切な仲間から預かった大事な
Yeah.
もの。
Oh man.
いつか君にこうして返すべきものだったんだ。
You know, it's exactly what I thought it was going to be, and it still kind of made me a little emotional on the inside. They did erect a statue. Well, did they get all that guy's features right? Yeah. Looks pretty good. And I'm sure he probably has some complaints about it, but still.
ヒンメルまだハゲなんだからこだわったって意味ないよ。
What are you talking about? I have these luscious locks down here. Yeah, also he's old. They move slower. Okay, so the others are still around. Okay.
ずいぶん貫禄が出たね、ハイター。
生徒の司教ですから。
Oh,
あな
nice.
たは全然変わりませんね。
頭なでんな。
Okay, so it was the priest that was the drunkard.
ハイゼンはあまり変わっていないね。
そうか。そう見えるか。
Yeah, so dwarves live longer than people, right? Generally in fantasy?
エーラ流星にはまだ時期が少し早いと思いますが。
うん。だからここから1週間くらい歩
Oh,
いて。
no.
そんなに遠いのか。
まったく、老人を酷
Yeah, I was
使
gonna
し
say, where's like a wagon or something?
懐かしいよ。こう
Oh,
している
one
と
last adventure.
あの時に戻ったかのようだ。いろいろなところを旅したね。何もかもが新鮮で、きらめいて見えた。
I will say, I'm just going to take a quick pause right here just to say, I know that, you know, I think I said up front that I've heard that Frieren is a very vibes-based show, but at the same time, I've heard people complain about that. People say like, oh, it's supposed to be so deep and emotional, but it's a show where nothing happens. And I will say, typically with a first episode or something, you really want to like, I don't want to say you always, but it's the Shakespeare method, right? Shakespeare usually started plays with either like some kind of an action scene, something supernatural happening, or I think a third thing, but now I don't remember what that was. But that's what they told me in like high school English. And the Shakespeare plays I've read have indeed started with something like that, whether it be witches over the kettle in, was it Macbeth? A fight at the start of Hamlet, I believe it was, or was that, see, and now it's been so long, I'm forgetting. But here, you know, they could have started with like the fight against the Demon King and started with like this big epic action scene and showed us that, but they didn't. We've had these heroes who've had this great victory, but they've shown us none of the victory, right? I mean, the closest thing we've seen is the Monster Hunter carve that Frieren got that was the Demon King's horn, that she, stashed with Himmel. That's what I'm gonna go with. I think I'm wrong. Damn it. Like I said, I'm absolutely terrible with names. They will come to me. I mean, it took me like 5 episodes before I remembered Chilchuck in Dungeon Meshi. But I said all that to say, like, this first episode has none of. Now, I'm not complaining. Okay, this is just an observation. I'm enjoying this a lot, by the way. I love how cozy it feels. Cozy already, even though I know it's probably going to emotionally wreck me within the next 10 minutes. But like it just has a cozy feel to it. Like I just want to put on. I have a hot cup of peppermint tea that's really nice. I wish I didn't have to have lights shining on me so I could be here. I wish I was kind of sitting in a dark room, like cozied up with a blanket, even though I live in South Texas and it's really hot. Like that's just the vibes I'm getting from the show so far. So some people may say it's slow, boring, nothing happens. I say let it cook. I love when shows can just take the time to slow down, don't have to rush all the time, can just like pace things out, take a breath. Like it's what I loved about, even though Arcane had a ton of big fight scenes and epic moments, those episodes were still like 43 minutes long. So in each episode, you still had time for the characters to kind of like take a second, where it wasn't just constant stimulus, right? So that's the vibe I'm getting here. And hey, even I know there's a series that comes after this, but I feel like this is something that's like a perfect encapsulation for like a short film, right? Like just as this is being presented to us, it's like a perfect little bubble. I mean, obviously whatever happens here is probably going to influence the rest of the show, but I could see a world where a story like this could just be a standalone one shot. And I don't know, maybe that's what the the mangakas had in mind, that they wanted to do something in case they didn't get picked up for serialization. They could at least tell like a really good story right at the start. And then, if they did make it to serialization and continue working on it, then they could just keep making more as they go. So that's just the feels I'm getting so far. I don't know how on or off base that is. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, anything like that. But let us continue with this back half of this episode. Why'd I think we were gonna get like a third set of legs? Ooh. Oh yeah, still kind of spry. Oh, that's a big pupper. Well, there's the action scene I said has been missing. But once again, the music is slow and calm, like something you'd hear in the Shire in Lord of the Rings.
ありがとうフリーレン。君のおかげで最後にとても楽しい冒険ができた。
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Is that what I'm gonna have to use for the first thumbnail? Oh, and I'm a sucker for rotating shots. I mean, I know this kind of isn't rotating. It's more like, as opposed to spinning, it's rotating around something. Oh no.
綺麗だ。
Is he gonna die like right here? I was very concerned he was just gonna kick it right there. Oh, fuck. I'm really glad they didn't show it. That would have been devastating.
ヒンメルは幸せだったと思いますよ。
そうなのかな。
I mean, he was very wistful at the
あの
end
子ヒン
there.
メル様の仲間なんだって。悲しい顔一つしないなんて白状だね。
Wow.
おやおや、私たちもしていませんよ。
市長は真面目にやれ。この白状が。
The bishop saying that? Okay, I needed that. I needed that laugh. Oh.
人間の寿命は短いって分かっていたのに、なんでもっと知ろうと思わなかったんだろう。
Huh? You could have, but you left. I mean, everyone continued to live their lives. Common occurrence, it seems. But yeah, I just want to hold on. It's weird because I don't think anyone blames her. I mean, obviously the people who don't know them said, "Oh, that was one of his companions. She's not even sad." But like, obviously there was no resentment there, right? Like she says, "Why didn't I take more time to get to know him?" But obviously she was still very special to him because he held on to that damn horn the whole time. And still, he said, even though it gives me nightmares, even though I hate it and there's literal darkness coming out of my closet, I still held on to it because it reminded me of you. He, traveling with her is one of the best parts of his life, and obviously still something he cherishes so well. And now here she is, just because she's off living her life too. Everyone did their own thing. Like, who would blame any of the other two if they had left town and, fucked off and did whatever, right? But it's, I guess just the fact that he's the first one to go is kind of making her realize mortality in this kind of way. This is hitting. I like this a lot.
二人とも顔をよく見せて。これで最後になるでしょうからね。
どこか悪いの？
長年の酒がたたりましてね。
Yeah, I got fatty liver.
生徒によることがあったら、私の墓に酒でも備えてください。
ハイターは死ぬのが怖くないの？
Well, you'd think he's a holy man,
世
right?
界を救った勇者パーティーですよ。死後は天国で贅沢三昧に決まっています。
It's a good way to look at it.
さて、私もそろそろ行くよ。
魔法収集の旅か。
Ooh.
私魔法職だからさ、強力な前衛がいると助かるんだよね。
勘弁してくれ。もう斧を触れるような年じゃない。そんな顔するな、フリーレン。人生ってのは衰えてからの方が案外長いもんさ。
Yeah, now here she is.
じゃあまたね、アイゼン。
あ、また。
Yeah, another 50 years perhaps. It's interesting. Maybe her asking him to come along even though he is old, maybe she's trying a little too hard to make up for lost time with, you know, what she lost with the others. And pretty soon she's going to find herself, and plus the priest said this will probably be the last time we see each other, right? I don't know what that says. Usually when there's text like that on the screen, it'll give some kind of a translation. 20 years later, after that. Okay.
何かお探しでしょうか。
Hi.
どうかなさいましたか。いや、ハイターって人の家を探しているんだけど。では、お客様でございますね。
Heiter is the...
まだ生きてたんだ、生臭坊主。
Okay. Oh wow, so he is still
死
alive.
ぬのも難しいものですな。
墓に備える酒買ってきちゃったけど、一杯やる？
Now, I guess you can't have it
やめ
then.
たんです。
Yeah, and here she is. Here she is, you know, still thinking like, damn, I still 20 years and I still haven't learned anything. Kicking herself that he gave it up, right?
あの子は。
フェルンと言います。南側諸国の繊細孤児でした。
I don't know why I thought she was going to be like a daughter or something.
フリーレン、なぜ私のところへ？
生徒への買い出しのついでだよ。旅先で会う人とはなるべく関わるようにしているからね。それにハイターにはたくさん借りがあるから、死なれる前に返しに来た。
では一つ頼み事を。
And I like how he was the one they were saying was an old man already.
フェルンには
Back
魔法使い
70 years
として
ago.
の素質があります。あなたの旅に連れて行ってくれませんか？
Well, Frieren and Fern will at least be pretty easy to remember.
それだけはできない。足手まといになるから。
Damn.
実戦での見習い魔法使いの死亡率は知ってるでしょ。友人から預かった子を死地に送るつもりはないよ。
賢者エービヒの墓所から出土したものです。
Okay.
この魔導書には今は失われた死者の蘇生や不死の魔法が
The
記
book
さ
just
れ
says,
ていると
"Put me down, hussy."
団子でしょ。この時代の人はこういうのが好きだね。まあ、5、6年もあれば。
Ooh, and he doesn't have that kind of time, right?
でもこんなの解読してどうすんのさ。死ぬのは怖くないんじゃなかったの？
理由は2つあります。一つはあなたたちの手前格好をつけていた。
Another spinning shot.
もう一つは前より死ぬのが怖くなったから。
And now he has Fern to care for, right? So it's like in his old age, he has more of purpose, right?
それに晴天には健やかに生きよとあります。長寿はその最たるものですよ、フリーレン。それと解読の片手間で構わないので、フェルンに魔法を教えてあげてはくれませんか？
Yeah, you could at least agree to that, right?
探すのが大変だったよ。いつも森で修行しているの？フリーレン様でも私を見つけるのが大変でございましたか？存在感が薄いとハイ
Damn.
ター様からもよく言われます。
Also, his vision isn't very good, so
力探知にほとんど引っかからない。卓越した魔力の操作技術だ。
okay.
ハイター様にあの一番岩を打ち抜けば一人前になれると言われました。
Okay.
ハイターも分かってんじゃん。あれはね。
Oh God. Oh, can't quite reach. Still, though, the fact that she just blasted like that.
してしまい届かないのです。先に一つ聞いていい？魔法は好き？ほどほどでございます。
Damn.
私と同じだ。
A natural talent for it, but not necessarily liking it. That's kind of interesting. Okay, that's it. That's episode 1. And we get a little look at the ED as well. Or, well, I guess as much as Netflix is going to let us see before it just cuts to the next episode. Okay, that was episode 1. Once again, I mentioned the lack of a big action scene or whatever to start. And here, similarly, not much of a big thing at the end either. Like, yes, we got a little bit of that conversation between Fern and Frieren. But here, I thought the episode was going to end, you know, in a traditional storytelling manner. Frieren would give her some kind of a pointer, like, oh, try this, or try, you know, focusing a certain way, or just shoot it a little to the left, like notice the wind and aim your magic accordingly. And Fern like takes a breath. Camera like kind of rotates in front of her as she blasts again, as it like cuts over to see, and she like chips a little hole in the rock or something. And Frieren says like, oh my God, she is good. That's, that's basic bullshit right there. That's, real standard, gotta hook them in, like thinking like, not thinking the way the creators of the show do, rather. So it's going to be a challenge for me to like reconcile the show itself with conventional storytelling stuff, because there was no conclusion to this episode. And I know typically as they adapt manga into anime, they will pick chapters, right? Like chapters in manga tend to have like big strong hooks to come back next week or next month or however often the chapters are, to I gotta know what happens next, I can't wait, like it's just a common thing. But here, just to end, it almost feels mid conversation here. I'm really curious to see if that truly was like obviously I'm not going to go read the manga right now. I want to get, before, if I do check out any of the manga, I want to get way further in the show before I start to read anything. But I'm really curious, like that didn't feel like an ending to anything. It just stopped, which is bizarre. Interesting. Like I can't say I've seen a show that, once again, not derogatory, because things that buck trends and kind of do things their own way, march to the beat of their own drum, provided they're good or whatever, are very, very interesting to me. I don't want to compare it to like outsider art, because that, I feel like that can be an insult in some circles, but very unconventional storytelling here. I did really like the kind of jumping through time and the little bit that we did get to spend 50 years later, especially with the hero. Was his name Himmel? Like I said, I'm absolutely terrible with names, so my apologies. I will hopefully be a little bit better for next time. But man, that whole scene, just everything with him as an old man, really, hit me emotionally. I especially like the scene with the horn too. I love that one especially. That was really touching. That this horrible, terrible, evil presence in his house still brought him such happiness because of who gave it to him and who entrusted it to him. And I think that's just really, really sweet. I did feel little tears welling up, not actually like, boo-hoo crying. I don't know if the show is that kind of show that's really gonna gut punch you and make you just like weep openly. I'm open to it. I've said this in other shows. I just finished Centaur World, and that's a show that people are like, oh, you're gonna cry so hard at that show. But it's hard when you're recording and you're trying to do commentary. You're occasionally trying to make jokes. I think this is going to be a show that I feel really bad about some of the jokes I make, because it doesn't feel like it's that kind of show. Yes, there were funny, light moments, but overall, I felt like, number one, sometimes I was like, I should add a joke here. And then the times where I did add a joke here, I was like, I kind of feel bad for making that joke. Like when Fern said, oh, even the priest can find me, and he says I'm really hard to see though. And I'm like, well, he is really old. His eyesight ain't good. I said that, and then he said like, oh, but I like him. He's had a whole life that we've seen little pieces of, and I just felt bad. So we'll see where the show goes from here. Obviously, there was a lot of other characters in the OP, which is, once again, really interesting that they gave us an OP in this first episode. So, hey, we'll just see where the show goes from here. Obviously, there's going to be new characters to meet. Obviously, Fern is going to be somewhat important, because I believe I did see her in the OP as well. But I'm just curious to see where it goes from here, especially with no real hook at the end of this episode. It's like I said, it's just really interesting. I guess the big thing for you that I would like to hear from you, the viewer, is when did this show hook you? Had you read the manga beforehand? Did you know much about the story? Or did you just kind of like keep watching it until, at a certain point you realize like, well, I'm in it now. Like, I can't stop. Because obviously, with this having won a poll and be actively making content for it, like, yes, if I was just normally watching, I could say, all right, next episode, Netflix, let's get it. But for me, like, I'm already locked in. I'm already like, dedicated the next 38 weeks or however long the show is to, watching and editing and uploading these things. So hey, it's just curious. So I said all that to say, I guess I'm already hooked, even though this episode lacked a traditional hook that I would look for and like point out and say, there it is. That's what's going to get you in the show. It just didn't have that. So really interesting stuff all around. I hope this reaction wasn't terrible. I do genuinely feel like this is unlike anything I've ever watched for the channel. But like I said, I'm into it. So hey, let me know what you thought of this reaction below. Stick with me as the show goes on. I promise I'm enjoying it no matter what I'm saying. And hey, with all that being said, don't forget to leave a like on your way out, and I'll catch you next time for the next episode of Frieren. Should I say Frieren or Frieren Beyond Journey's End? I think I'll just say Frieren. After all, that's what the show said. So catch you next time for the next episode of Frieren. Take it easy, everybody.